Alright guys, hope everyone's well and welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to go over my push day, which you haven't yet seen since I updated my training split. So just a quick update of where I'm currently at before jumping in. Currently sitting around about 180 pounds, maybe just shy of that, which puts me like a pound up or pound and a half up since I finished my diet, which was 8 weeks ago. So keeping things quite in check when it comes to condition as I push my body weight up. And things are well. Obviously I commented on in the last video, I recently moved house, so that's been a great step. Growing my hair, I've got 3 cats now, so a lot of changes, a lot of things going well. And I've got a client Zep on stage in just under 3 weeks, so yeah, a busy period right now. I've got things that are going pretty great, so let's continue. So yeah, pull day today, starting off with lat pullover. What you'll see when I jump into my set is I don't actually use these pads when I perform the pullover. The reason being is you need to be built like Brian Shaw or Ronnie Coleman to actually like get your arm on them. And when we're training the lat, we ideally want quite a tucked arm path in line with the shoulder, which that doesn't accomplish. Also, when you're externally rotated at the shoulder, in other words, when you're like your palms are facing down, the elbows are out, you're not in a great position to bias the lat. Whereas if I take an underhand grip, which you'll see in a second, it allows you to have your up arm close to your torso, so you can bias your lat more effectively. So if you've got a pullover machine, he's not really got on with it, try having an underhand grip, it's just not ready.
Não se mata.
That's a good start, that's some progress taken. And whenever I'm training my back, I have always started with lat focus movements. Reason being is when you think about someone's back development, to have played the lats are a weaker area. The rationale behind that, in my opinion, is when people train and start out, they don't like use their lats, you know what I mean? Like they don't perform movements in a way where they're gonna bias them, you know what I mean? They just like do rows, pull downs, and their execution usually targets their upper back, and they don't have that skill of being able to bias and hit them effectively. Therefore, when you get more experience, you learn where the lats are, how to train them, usually pretty weak by that time. So I like placing it at the start of client sessions when it comes to their back work, instead of doing like upper back movement first. We've next got the Mega Mass row, which is quite a unique non-chest supported row. Has got a back support to kind of stop you throwing your body about the place, but yeah, machine I really like. If you don't have something like this available, doing like a flat bar cable row or something like a D-handle row, or alternatively a bent over row can get a good alternative. And here I'm just being really mindful as I initiate and perform the movement. I'm just going elbows back. So obviously it might seem a lot of people, even when they warm up, I see it with clients, they'll row and they'll be going like this. I mean, they'll not be actually just driving their elbows back, they'll be pulling their whole body back, which of course isn't the goal. The goal is to train the upper back. Upper back's function is to basically bring your off arm back and also to retract the shoulder, to move the shoulder back. So they're the 2 key things we're looking for from this movement. So we've now got a single arm pull down. If you don't have a machine, you can easily set this up on a cable stack with a bench. And something to think about when it comes to your movements, doesn't just apply to pull down, any sort of movement, is your points of application. So the more points of application we can have, the more stability we can create and the better we can perform. What that basically means is, instead of me maybe just using the chest support or just using the handle, I want to think about creating as much stability points as possible. So, for example, press my foot in the ground, jamming my leg against the back pad, bracing against it with the non-working hand is something I see a lot of people pulling it, which I don't think makes sense. The weight's pulling me that way, so why would I then join it? It makes sense to do the opposite. So, using the chest support, using leg pad, bracing against this with my non-working hand. And then here, always think about driving my elbow down, not just mindlessly pulling back here, which will get you a lot upper back. You can see I get elevation in the shoulder, a lot of movement back in the shoulder. So instead, down to the hip instead of back. You can clearly see the difference in my shoulder progression and my arms happy. And a wee tip when you're getting into any pull down is see, instead of just like sitting on it when you're thinking about your arm position, use your non-working hand, pull down, shoulder away from here, palm up, core tight, start. What I also do here is I'll treat both sides independently. So I won't do one side and rattle straight into the other, because there's some element of cardiovascular demand. And then when you accumulate central nervous system fatigue, short term that can impact performance. So just wait until you feel mentally, physically ready, heart rate's a wee bit lower, it's a good shout. Unless it's like bicep work, tricep work, I might just jump straight in, because the cardiovascular demand, the demand on your fitness, isn't quite there. So unfortunately my mic turned off when I headed onto the prime row, but what I'm pretty much focusing on here is making sure I stay proud as I get into that stretch position. I'm not allowing my upper back to round to get more range of motion. If you let your upper back round, you're not actually getting more range of motion for the target tissue, although the machine's moving a further distance. In other words, I'd refer to this as artificial range of motion. It seems like you get more range of motion, but you're not actually. And what I'm thinking about as I'm pulling is I'm thinking about driving my chest forward into the pad and staying proud. So I'm thinking proud and forward as I pull, and then I'm thinking about staying proud as I reach forward so I don't get pulled over the pad, and I maintain a neutral spine at all times. And I've been super mindful towards the end of making sure I fight for the final part of that rep, making sure I keep that range of motion the same. It's very easy for your range of motion to drop off as the set goes on, which of course we don't want. We want to try and keep it standardized, and also that's a point where we're really kind of getting as much muscle fiber recruitment possible when the rep speed moves slow, so you don't want it to then speed up. So unfortunately we had some audio issues here once again, so I'm going to give you a voiceover. So I opt to perform this movement single arm. The reason being is it leads to better joint alignment. Sometimes you can find if you do your bicep work bilaterally, in other words both arms at the same time, you don't get good joint alignment. It puts you in quite an uncomfortable position that not a lot of people can get in. That's not that wrist friendly and elbow friendly. So for those individuals, opting for single arm can be great. Also, I find performing this single arm, I've got a greater ability to keep my shoulder static and basically not use any sort of momentum or body English from my upper body, whereas when I do it dual arm, I find it hard to keep the shoulder depressed and pretty static at all times. So that's another benefit. And performing your bicep work or tricep work single arm also doesn't add much time onto the session. The reason being is you don't need to rest a lot between the arm work. Unlike if you're doing something like a single leg press or like a split squat variation, which will of course be a lot more cardiovascular demanding. So I've got 3 sets here. I was doing 2 sets and then a drop, and I found really it's not really going to add on much time doing just 3 standard sets, and the quality's higher because I've got more rest between them. So I opted to do 3 sets here, and I'm thinking about, as I initiate out that stretch position, thinking about pulling my hand up. What that will allow me to do is drive my up arm into that pad, and as a result create more stability. Whenever we've got a point of contact, as I touched on earlier, it will allow us to create more stability and therefore perform better. So I'm driving my arm into that pad, making sure the only thing that moves here is my elbow joint, and I'm also pausing this in both ranges, starting with a higher rep set because it's very heavy in the stretch this, so doing so just makes it a bit safer. So of course I don't tear a bicep, which would of course not be optimal. So next up we've got a rear delt fly, and on the rear delt fly what I'm basically thinking of is just driving my arm forward and then out and down. We're not cueing back an awful lot because that'll get retraction in the shoulders, and the reason why we don't want that is that's not the role of the rear delt. The role of the rear delt is to abduct the upper arm, in other words bring it out. And here we've got 2 sets and a drop set, and there's nothing inherently magical about doing drop sets. It just allows you to accumulate more volume. But before ever doing more, if you've got a weak muscle group or you're looking to just do more work as a whole, always address the quality of your current work first. More poor quality work is just going to lead to more poor quality results. And always ensure if you are going to add more, make sure the effort doesn't slip and you don't sandbag your set. So that's something I'll consider with my clients. Like, yes, I could add more, but will that get in the way of them training hard? And will that stop them being able to develop their training intensity, which is a consideration to make. So if you know you've got 5 sets of squats, how much of them are going to actually be high quality? So that's something to consider there. And whenever, a good way to think about why we want to always address quality first is, think about like if you're trying to like grow your rear delts and you're doing it in a manner that's not hitting your rear delts, what's doing more work going to do? Not going to grow your rear delts. It's just going to grow your strong muscle groups more and leave them lagging behind even further. So that's why I want to address execution first. A good way to think about it is, imagine a dart player who's a world champion versus me. You give me double the darts, right? Who's going to get a better score? Probably still the dart player, because he's got a lot of precision. He's very precise and he's very skilled. So we can get more out of less work, which is sometimes why you don't need to do an absolute ton of sets. Especially if you're experienced in advance, you can get a lot out of just making sure your work's high quality, because you've got such a good ability to stimulate that target muscle because your skill's very high. So that's something to consider when you're thinking about escalating volume, making sure quality is high first, which means form, effort, and then consider doing more, but make sure the effort or quality never drops. And yeah, drop sets, there's nothing magical about them, but something that can limit a lot of people just doing more in the gym is time. So if we can get more done in the same time or less time, then even better in terms of being able to make progress long term, have less stress because you're not in the gym as long. Because things like your biceps, your calves, your forearms, your rear delts, I rarely see people like really like doing too much for them. That's very rare. Because once you've trained everything else, like the amount of time and energy you have is very poor unless you have like an arm day, which I think, unless you're absolutely massive and your arms are like a very big weakness, is a waste of time. And even then, I'd rather space that arm workout because I think the follow it's going to do better. So yeah, 2 sets here in the rear delt, followed by a drop set. So something you can try during your bicep work is, if you've got a preacher curl, or if you've got like a lat pull down station, or any other object or restraint where you can brace your upper arm on, what that can allow you to do is have your arm in front of your body, creating a bit more stability and also allowing you to hold that stretch position and stop using momentum from other tissues or just your shoulder getting tired throughout the movement. So give it a try if you feel like you're unstable throughout your hammer curl whip. So yeah, here again, second set I'm showing, gonna do a straight set and then into a drop. Alright guys, so that's a wrap of the video. So thank you very much for everyone who gave it a watch. And if you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, and also share it on your Instagram story and mention me at Charlie J Cuthbert. Give me a follow there if you haven't already. Getting very close to 1,000 subscribers, so any support would be absolutely massively appreciated. And hope everyone has an amazing day.